Get ready, this is a biggie. We are going to talk about the predictions that the Simpsons, if you don't know who they are, it's a made-up family cartoon here in the United States, which was developed by 20th Century Fox. And it's known for coming up with insane predictions like President Trump. Not only being president once, but twice, back when that would have been like the most insane thing for us to even consider. But I'm going to point out not only what has been predicted by them, but a couple things that have been predicted that haven't come true, one of which is particularly pegged for 2025. This is really interesting, very much what I talk about, and you're going to want to hear this. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. No hat today. I don't know, I just decided not to. All right, so how many times has The Simpsons predicted the future? Now you gotta remember, this is a comedy. It's like so out there, it's insane. But we're gonna talk about how they're doing it, why there are 34 predictions. I'm going to bring up quite a few of them, actually, that you're going to say, how can that be a coincidence? I'm going to tell you how it's a coincidence. I'm going to tell you how they're doing it. I'm going to tell you something that you and I need to know right now, because this is something we can do. This is something that Edgar Cayce has done. This is something that Nostradamus did. They were not always right. In fact, they were rarely right. If you look at how many times they have predicted things. Why is that? This is all so simple, and this is exactly what we're going into that was predicted by Cayce, that when we go into this amazing era of spirituality, of which is happening right now. The spirituality isn't just, oh, we are going to do nice things. It's we are actually expanding into powers that we never believed we had, because we were in a limiting, separate kind of thinking that there's a power out there that I ask for things, law of attraction, and that's just gone now. We look at disclosure as something somebody else gives us, and that's gone now. We realize, why are we relying on anyone else? Everyone is equally powerful and has equal access to all the same information. We're going to do that today. I'm going to tell you why the absolute most horrific prediction by The Simpsons actually is not going to happen. And The Simpsons actually predicted that. Okay, you're going to love this. So I hope that you will subscribe, share my videos, and those of you who are entrepreneurial, we're going into a new world, and we're creating businesses online. We're using technology, but we're creating planet conscious businesses. We're creating businesses that we love, that we're passionate about, that we've always been told should be a hobby. And we're creating multiple income streams and using actual business strategies to create things of value. No more chasing money. You see these ads, hey, do this to make side income. And it's like, is that really what you want to do? Or do you want to make an impact on your life, the world, maybe even quit that job that's destroying the planet? We're going into a new era. And I have predicted we will not see World War III. It will not happen. I've been saying that for years. I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why this prediction actually reinforces what I'm telling you. So you can relax now. I sort of told you a little bit about what's to come, but I'm going to tell you why. All right, so please, again, subscribe. But what I want to talk about today is the power of the quantum field of which all things are, and that your attention to anything is called entanglement. What is entanglement? I am now focused on something, and we are now entangled. Law of attraction doesn't exist. It's made up. It was made up 100 years ago before we knew what quantum physics was. There seemed to be a coincidence. Well, quantum physics, of course, is entanglement of that which you believe and focus on. Law of attraction is I'm focused here on that which I don't want and don't like, and I want something else, and I want to attract it to me, and the total disconnect. You can't attract something to you that you aren't. So you can't attract the penthouse to the basement. You got to go up to the penthouse. We're doing that right now, and this is exactly what's happening with these writers, with predictions, with channelers, and it can go any which way. And this is why you have to start thinking for yourself. It's all here. Where do you think they're getting their information from? It's one shared energy field. We are not separate from one another. So that energy field that is revealing all these realities, somebody's just pulling one out. They all exist. There's no one reality. Oh, here's our future. No, it's endless. And you get to pick it. We do. As a collective, we get to. And as an individual, you get to experience your own individual. So you may experience a golden era, and somebody else is going to experience the implosion of whatever. It's not going to happen. All right. 34 times. Season 11, episode 17. Marge, the wife of Bart, she becomes president, and she references, this was in 2000, she references President Trump, former President Trump, that she got stuck with some stuff that she had to deal with in the White House. She also mentions Trump in 2024. Now, here's what I looked up. How are these writers doing it? First of all, yes, they're picking up on stuff, but they said out of 700 different predictions, you're going to hit a couple, right? That's how this works. I could sit here all day and write down every possible prediction, and I guarantee you there's going to be a percentage of them. It was 10%. They predicted that 10% actually of the craziness came true. Is that a good percentage? Not really. Okay, yeah. But it's so insane that it's noticeable. They said they chose a funny celebrity to be president. They said that that's pick somebody so funny that you'd say no possible way. But here's what I want you to know. Trump already had said at that point that, yeah, he'd consider running for president. That was way back before it was even brought up. It was known that he said that, so it's not such a great coincidence, right? Season 3, episode 114, they predicted that the Washington Redskins, they were called the Redskins at the time, would win the Super Bowl. You got a 50-50 chance there. Yeah, okay. So season 10, episode 5, they predicted that Disney would buy 20th Century Fox. They thought that was sort of crazy, that Bart and Mickey Mouse would have the same house. That happened. Season 17, episode 10. This one is really out there, okay? The submersible. Bart, they're going on this submersible. You remember the little submarine? 5 passengers, all looking at the Titanic, imploded and all died on it. And that did happen. That one is really out there. Now, here's something else I want you to consider. This is remote viewing, that people do it without actually knowing it. So they are not separate from the people who purposely remote view. You are not separate from Edgar Casey, who taps into that. You're always tapping into it. Maybe you have too much density, limitations, all this stuff in your head, limiting beliefs. You're just over here, so you're creating that. So you're not tapping into the stuff that Edgar Casey knew that all things were possible. He went into a trance. He got rid of the limiting mind because he was religious. He had big limitations. He didn't believe in reincarnation. So when he went into a trance state, he left those limiting beliefs behind and tapped into this unlimited space. That's what you and I can do right now. And when you go there, you create it. You create it. You don't say, well, I don't believe that, I can be wealthy, but I'm going to attract it to me. Hello, McFly, not happening. So now we have to shift and say, wait a second. That's the reason why I'm broke, because I don't believe it. And I think there's something separate from me that I need to bring to me that somehow it's going to say, oh, sure, you don't believe and think this, but, you know, here I am. No, it's not. No, you're either rich or you're not. You're either well or you're not. You know, and of course there's obviously different degrees and reasons for all this stuff. We have to learn. Aliens aren't going to come down and save us because we haven't learned how to do it ourselves. We have the power to. Why would they? The whole game is to learn how to do this. So these writers, everyone, I do it, I'm a writer, creative people do it. This is why people who produce movies, you're like, whoa, okay, that was a little close to home. Why? They're tapping into that creative space where they actually can see these things that exist. So eventually some of those things are going to appear in the material world. That's all it is. So if you want a remote view, this person who channels remote views is not special. They're just getting out of their own way as a human being and saying, okay, I know that this all exists and I don't understand it, but I'm going to tap into it. I don't have any preconceived ideas of what it is or if it's scary or evil or, you know, great. I told you, reptilians, if you believe in all that stuff, I'm not even there. It's all made up. It's made. Everything's made up. We're made up. Everything's made up. And if we believe it, it's created because it's all illusion. So if you believe in that stuff, you believe it has power over you, it does. So now you're in the basement going, scary, right? And this is what these writers are doing. Okay, so they're doing one of two things. They're tapping into a probability and obviously trying to find some crazy humor in it. They're doing one of two things. They're seeing and choosing a probability, and they're actually also reinforcing it by exposing other people to it. We actually help create it. So if I keep seeing stuff, this is why vision boards can be powerful. If I get out of the way and believe it, I can also do the opposite. A vision board is if I believe Trump's going to be president and it was insane, a decade ago, if I see it enough, I actually start to, maybe if I don't even believe it, I start to condition myself to entangle with that reality, and I actually help promote it. I help create it. This is why commercials, media, conspiracies, all that stuff is absolutely super effective. You could say, oh, I don't believe it. But if you watch it at all, you're creating it. You're entangled with it. You're reinforcing the material world creation of that. So they talk about this, and they said, yeah, some of that was a little out there. They were actually remote. They were tapping into real life situations that existed, and unknowingly we're sharing this stuff, all right? They predicted smartwatches. That's not too tough. In season 25, episode 16, that there would be a FIFA corruption and scandal. That's inevitable too, right? They didn't predict the exact year. They predicted that Seigfried and Roy, there would be an attack. 10 years later there was. Okay, that's insanity. When Seigfried and Roy, they gave him another name. Bart had some act or whatever that was similar. Inevitably, there's very super high chance that's going to happen. Now, I'm not dismissing this, but 10 years later, it did happen. So is that too crazy? The writer said, no, think about it. At some point that probably is going to happen. And of course, they're tapping into the probabilities that could happen. But then there's some that are just a little bit too close to home. Season 21, episode 12, they predicted that the U.S. would win in curling. It wasn't even part of the Olympics. 8 years later, they added curling and the U.S. did win. Pretty crazy. All right, there are no coincidences. They tapped into they picked something really out there. Everything's possible for you. So don't think that, oh, well, that can't happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. If you focus on it, you got to believe it. Now, if you have a vision board, this is why I tell people, get rid of all that stuff. Start working on this. If you have a vision board and you have this, beautiful home, and you don't believe it. Every time you look at the vision board, you're reinforced that you don't believe that you can have it. So you actually push it further away from you. That's how beliefs work. That's how this space works. It's always creating for you. So I look at it and go, oh, that's never going to happen. But oh, it'll come to me, but I don't think it'll happen. You keep it away from. Why doesn't law of attraction work? That's why. Because you think you're going to attract something. Change this, right? So aliens, they're not going to save us. They're like, clean this up. Oh, they're going to clean up our environment. Glug, 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 my plastic water bottle. Oh, here's my fast food. McFly! That's how it works. Everything counts. Your thoughts count. There was the Shard, is a building in London, and there is a picture in season 6, episode 19, where there is a building in the background that didn't exist at the time that's identical to the Shard. That one's out there, yeah, okay? That happened in 2012 that it was built, and that episode was way before that. What are they picking up on? Season 2, episode 4, Three-Eyed Fish. That's probably inevitably going to happen. Yes, it eventually happened in Argentina. Toxic waters. If we have a toxic planet, I guarantee you a three-eyed fish is going to show up at some point. Now, what have they predicted for the future? This is what you want to hear. You ready for that? Hair fluff. Gotta fluff the hair. You guys, you want this hair? Yeah, well, maybe you can't have this hair. And go down my description. Everything down there has no plastic, no toxins. I use it on my hair, on my body. Go down there and start supporting the business owners who aren't polluting the planet. All right, you ready for this? No, they did not predict 9/11. That absolutely is false. Somebody took a picture of the bus fare that was $9, and there were the Twin Towers in the background with other things, and the Twin Towers had a 2, it looked like 11. And so somebody created something out. The writer said, absolutely, that one is completely made up. I mean, you can make anything up if you, look at that in the background. Okay. They said Big Ben will go digital. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And yes, they predicted World War III in 2025. Hang in there with me. In the episode, Bart, I don't know if he actually dies. I didn't see the episode. He goes to heaven and he talks to God. This is the best part. He talks to God and he makes a deal with God and says, please spare us. Don't let this happen. And guess what? God averts World War III. Okay? This is where we are. This is where we are. You and I can ask. And we have to contribute to the peace. We can't be the damage and the negativity, the separation and the judgment, and then want this. Law of attraction. I'm going to do all this and not change who I am and attract this that I want to be, that I'm not here. You have to be that. You have to be the peace. You have to be the compassion. You have to be the light giver. You have to be the person, the business owner who's conscious and responsible for how they earn money. You can't keep polluting the planet with what you're consuming and how you're earning. It's got to stop. It has to stop. And if you stop that, you contribute to the reality where we ask Source to avert it. But we participate in it because we're creators. We are the source of that result. We're the source of it. So you hold this power. I keep teaching you this. We're done with law of attraction. We're done with disclosure. We are the source of the answers, the source of the illusion, the source of the future. We are it. And so if you want to go into the golden era, you have to be the golden era. That means I have to live it now. I have to make some changes, and some big gifts I told you will come to you. What are the gifts? Gifts will come to you to help you to change your life, to get out of whatever it is that doesn't work, that is low frequency. Taking meds that you don't need, being unhealthy with what you eat and drink, your thoughts. Are you polluting your mind and the quantum field with negativity? Are you separating? Are you flooding yourself with the negative media and stuff out there and believing it? It's programming to keep you down in the basement, and you're falling for it. Some of you, right? You get on my channel and you say nasty stuff about people who are sitting here trying to help you to find that space of empowerment that you hold right now to change anything in your life. You hold it. It's not outside of you. You know, these things you shall do and more. You know, Christ said unbelievable things about our power. We didn't want to believe, we still don't want to believe it, because we have been programmed to be disempowered people. This is all this is. They're tapping into stuff and picking insane things that they don't even know how they're doing it. But, as the writer said, sit and pick, enough predictions, you're going to be right some of the time. We can be right most of the time if we actually consciously know what we're doing. So we're not doing stuff to be funny or picking cataclysmic events. We can pick the events that we choose and start working toward it right now. Clean up everything in your life, starting with your mind, your heart, and you know how you feel. You can call in orbs, you can call in angels. They won't do anything for us. That is not why we came here. The whole point is that, and this is the disempowerment, something's gonna save me. Nope. This is why nothing's listening to me. It's going, hey, McFly, when you clean this up, you go, oh, wait a second. I can just walk up to the penthouse? Okay. Bring me up to the penthouse. And it's going, there's a stairway, there's a ladder, there's an elevator. We'll wait till you figure it out. You ready? So those of you who are ready to go into New World, wait, I've got some great announcements coming up. We're creating crazy, crazy stuff. We're creating things that are changing the world. We're starting here. It's like, how do I create something amazing? For myself, I've always wanted to. How have I wanted to live my life? What do I want to create? Creation is such a high frequency. It makes you feel so good to write, to inspire, to do things you love. Quit worrying about what other people think. They're in low frequency. Why would you listen to that? That's so silly. And those of you who are, my husband, he's not enlightened, and my family's not enlightened. How do you know? You don't know. You know, they're the angel, the dirty, drugged out, homeless angel on the street testing you, going, how are you going to treat me? They don't appear as angels all the time. Why? Because they're testing us. It's the test. I don't know why we're doing it. Just do it. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I hope you enjoyed this. World War III, guess what? It's been averted. I have always known this. I'm choosing that future and the golden era. And yeah, we're going to get challenged. Why? Everything in your life's going to get shook up that doesn't work in a higher frequency world. It has to go. So things will happen to dissolve it, to break it up, to change it, to force you to make new decisions to become 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, whatever version you want to be. I know I have, and it's been wonderful. I'm actually shooting a video on my new channel, Chic Sustainability, and I take you into my closet. For about the 4th time, I'm going back through and getting rid of more stuff. It's fun. It feels good. Simple. Yes, simple. Give. Love. Stop thinking so much. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.